Okay, so for part C, it says, again, we're looking at this function. A is a positive real number, n is a positive integer, where n is bigger than 1. This is worth 5 marks. It says, show that the derivative equals this. I like this question. I like the look of it because I know what to do. You just differentiate this. So the function is this, x to the n, a minus x to the n. Now I know how to differentiate this. It's just a product rule. So I'm going to over here write u is equal to x to the n, v is equal to a minus x to the n, and differentiate this. U dash is equal to n x to the n minus 1. V dash is n times a minus x to the n minus 1, and be careful, it's times -1 because of this. It's chain rule. I have to times by the derivative of what's inside the bracket, which is -1. So it's just minus this. Okay, now I can write down the derivative. F dash of x is equal to this times this plus this times this. So this times this is minus n x to the n a minus x to the n minus 1 plus this times this, which is n x to the n minus 1 times a minus x to the power of n. Okay, so this is the derivative. Probably on 2, maybe 3 marks for this bit alone. Check the mark scheme after. But I think arguably the hard part is this. I have to turn this now into this. So, how do I do that? Well, let's look at this. He's got an n. I've got an n in both. I'm just going to factorize it. I've got an n in this term. I have 2 terms, this term and this term. I have an n here and I have an n here. Good. So I can just take out an n. That's an easy bit. I have an x. Well, he's got an x to the n minus 1. Here I have an x to the n minus 1, but here I have an x to the n. So that's a bit of a problem. But what I can do is, instead of, well, x to the n minus 1 is just x to the n over x, because that is what, that's rules of indices. When you have the same base and you're dividing, you just subtract the indices. That's x to the n minus 1. So what I'm going to write here, instead of, well, I'm going to add in, I'm going to divide by x essentially, but I can't just divide by x. I need to also multiply by x. So I'm actually going to multiply here by, sometimes I like to say 1 in disguise. So I'm multiplying by 1 in disguise. It's just x over x, because that'll allow me, or it's just a nice way to easily see why I'm going to take out x n minus 1, because this with this x is x to the n minus 1. Similarly, and this is so a minus x to the power of n minus 1. Similarly, I want to take out an a to the, so here I have my n, which is good. I have my x to the n minus 1, which is good. But here I have a minus x to the n, and I want to take out an a minus x to the n minus 1. So I'm going to do my same little trick. This is a minus x to the n. I'm going to multiply by a minus x over a minus x. It's like, again, 1 in disguise. Now, watch this. I take out an n from here and from here. I take out an x minus 1 from here. It's this and this. Let me just circle that to be clear. This, there, don't do that in the exam, guys. But that part is my x to the n minus 1. And this part is my a minus x to the n minus 1. So it's x to the n minus 1. And I'm taking out this one, which is my a minus x to the power of n minus 1. That's this. I'm taking out that green bit. So what's left, open my bracket, what's left here? Well, the minus is still there, and this x is still here. The rest I've taken out. I've taken out the n, the x to the n minus 1, and this. So it's just the minus x that's left. And what's left over here? Well, I've taken out the n, I've taken out the x to the n minus 1, I've taken out this, which is the a minus x to the n minus 1. All that's left is this a minus x. So it's plus a minus x, which is perfect because this is a minus 2x, which I wanted. So this is equal to n times x to the n minus 1, a minus x to the n minus 1 times a minus 2x, which is exactly the same as this. So I'll write QED, which means I've shown what they wanted, and that's 5 marks. Okay, that's definitely that's the hardest part so far, but again, not impossible. And certainly we could all get this first bit right for sure. Okay, next video.